Ohio, my name is Minamitoku and welcome to 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors part 22. Now let's see what is behind this door. As Junpei walked into the room, a blast of cold air washed over him. It's a freezing chamber. Almost instinctively, he folded his arms tight across his chest, doing what he could to conserve body heat.
Oh, it's cold in here.
You don't say.
What is this place?
It's
Are
a
you
freezer.
blind?
It's a freezer.
It's a freezer.
A huge freezer. Santa's teeth had already begun to chatter. Hardly surprising. The freezer was far too cold for someone dressed as he was. True that. Lotus, however, was in an even worse situation.
Oh, no way. That's way too cold for me. I'll freeze solid in seconds.
Well, you've got all those things over there. Get out of here.
Sorry, but I'm afraid I'll have to pass on this one. I'm going to leave the rest to you.
Yeah, please do that. And with that, she ran out of the room. Bye, Lotus. As Lotus left, June came in.
Oh, whoa. It's really cold in here.
White puffs of steam hovered in front of their faces as they talked. June had already started to shiver.
Hey, you don't need to be in here.
I mean, look at her! She is far more suitable clothed for a situation like this. Well, at least more than Santa and Lotus. And I think Junpei has a hoodie or something, so he would be the one to be in here for longer.
You had a fever just a little bit ago.
And
you should stay
that.
outside. We got this.
No, I'm fine.
I'm fine! I just remembered Apollo Justice from the Ace Attorney series.
My fever's gone now.
He's always shouting, "I'm fine!" around, just to reassure himself that he is fine actually.
But
Junpei had scarcely opened his mouth as
Huh?
the door shut and something leaked out. When the thunderous sound of metal upon metal rang out from behind them, in unison they spun around to find that the door they had only recently come through was closed. And some water is running from it. Also, why is the doorknob askew like this? That scream. Junpei rushed to the door.
Why did it suddenly close?
I don't know, but it froze solid here. Desperately, he grabbed hold of the doorknob.
Ah!
I wouldn't do that. It was cold, beyond cold. Merely touching it was
The
painful.
knob's frozen.
Yeah, if you touch something as cold as this. Junpei, you actually got lucky that you still have all your skin on your hand.
But why?
They quickly deduced that the pipe next to the door had ruptured, as you can see here.
It looks like the pipe next to it broke, and
Water released by the rupture had hit the door and frozen instantly. Santa shoved Junpei aside and pounded against the door.
Hey, Lotus! You're out there, right? Open the door!
I don't think she's able to. She wasted no time in
What
responding.
do you want? What's going on?
The door won't open! Try opening it from that side, please!
Come on, you
Oh,
can do
fine.
it, Lotus. We're in danger here.
You say so. Hold on.
Serious danger here, Lotus. Gosh. Soon they could hear Lotus on the other side of the door. No, it doesn't work like that. Then the grunting ceased and they could hear light panting, as if from exertion.
It's no use. It won't budge. You've got more people in there. You figure it out.
Well, you're a genius hacker, Lotus. You have much more brain power.
Oh,
Damn it.
Yeah. Santa was shaking like a newborn here. Where did that analogy came from? I don't know. June was hugging herself and was shivering violently. Why don't you hug each other? Much more body warmth and heat is generated through that way. Even Junpei, with the heaviest clothes of any of them, was clearly feeling the cold. With every breath they took, they could feel the cold working its way deeper and deeper into their bodies.
Anyway, let's find a way out.
Okay.
If we don't get moving, we're gonna be permanent residents.
Frozen solid residents.
2 heads are better than none.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll figure something out.
There's enough stuff in here.
You're right. Let's just take a good look around this room. Okay.
Right.
They pushed in close to one another and began to search. Let's look through all the stuff. There's some frozen meat up there. Looks like pork. What's this? It looks like a tag or something. Chunk of pork with a tag on it. There we have it. Is there anything else here? Everything's frozen in here. Nope. Doesn't look like there's anything else interesting. What's here? We should be able to... Yep, dry ice. There we have some dry ice. This will be helpful. Junpei picked up the dry ice with his sleeve so as to avoid burning himself.
Dry ice is just frozen carbon dioxide, right?
Yep,
Yeah, it is.
CO2 in short.
I wonder how warm it has to get for it to turn back into gas again.
Not that much.
Hell if I know. How is that gonna help us anyway?
But wait, either way, this freezer is really, really cold? Or there's a freezer inside the freezer?
Oh, well, I figured we might be able to use it to get out of here.
They were about to move on when June spoke up.
Carbon dioxide sublimation point is negative 109 degrees.
Fahrenheit, Celsius, Kelvin?
Any warmer than that, and it'll turn into gas. Any lower, and it becomes a solid.
Okay, so it has... Wait. It can't become a fluid? Wait, really? Is carbon dioxide either gas or solid? Isn't there a fluid version of it? I thought there was, but apparently not. Junpei looked at her, dumbfounded.
How do you know that?
That's a good question, actually.
Despite my looks, I'm the the queen of random knowledge.
The clean of random knowledge, yeah. So if you're clean, then clean up this place, please.
It's bad to mess up when you're showing off. Oh, you're so cold your mouth's going numb?
Yeah, let's fight.
You're just doing that on purpose, aren't you?
Yeah. June giggled and did her best to hide her guilt. At least she was still feeling good enough to joke around, Junpei told himself.
Come on, guys. Don't you think that's kind of weird?
What?
I wonder why it doesn't turn into a liquid first.
Yeah. Santa was now shivering at an astounding rate, but his curiosity seemed unaffected. Junpei... Here's the thing. We need to enter. It did seem rather odd for the true ending to unlock, so let's do it. Of course, we want to get out of the freezer right now, but for the ending to unlock,
It is
we're
kind of
gonna
weird.
take a detour here. June answered.
But it can turn into a liquid. Carbon dioxide turns to liquid if you put it under high enough pressure.
That was it.
But at 1 atmosphere, normal air pressure.
It won't turn into a liquid, right?
Yep.
That's right. Instead of melting, it'll do what's called sublimating and change immediately from a solid state to a gaseous one.
Which releases a ton of energy.
See, that is weird.
Or consumes a ton of energy.
Water's a
Something
liquid
like that.
between 32 degrees and 212 degrees.
Okay, you're talking about Fahrenheit then. Because I know for a fact that 32 degrees Fahrenheit is 0 degrees Celsius. And 0 degrees Celsius is 200 and... 271 or 273 degrees Kelvin. So, something like that, if I remember correctly.
So why isn't
Don't
that
quote
the
me
case
on
for
that.
carbon dioxide?
So wait, 212 degrees Fahrenheit is 100 degrees Celsius then? Does that make sense? Because water boils at 100 degrees. Well, depending on the air pressure and altitude and stuff like that. So, okay, learned something new. Thanks.
There's a kind of ice that doesn't turn into liquid when it goes above 32 degrees.
Kind of ice.
Huh?
I heard about it. Its melting point is 96 degrees.
96 degrees, what would that be? About 40 or 50 degrees? Celsius, I mean.
Ice with a melting point of 96 degrees?
That's quite hot.
I mean, there's water that freezes at 96 degrees?
Yeah, well, you could also look at it as ice that won't melt until it's 96 degrees.
Water that freezes at 96 degrees? Ice that won't melt until 96 degrees? Junpei was cold as hell, but this was too interesting to ignore. He did his best to warm up by rubbing his arms and stamping his feet, then put the question to June.
So what's this ice with a melting point of 96 degrees called?
I heard it's called Ice-9.
Ice-9? Why 9? Because of 96?
Ice-9?
Originally, Ice-9 was a made-up substance invented by a science fiction author.
Okay.
But recently, scientists have discovered that such a substance actually exists.
Wait, hold up. So is this thing called Ice-9, or is it water?
Like I said, if the ice is over 96 degrees, it'll be liquid. If it's under that, it'll solidify.
Yeah, but there can't be normal water, right? So if there's Ice-9, there would also be something called Water-9, right?
So you could think of it as a polymorph of H2O.
H2O being water, so... And polymorph is like... It has a different structure than the normal atoms have, or... Like, H2O, there's 3 atoms, 2... Wait, H is what's called in English? Hydrogen. There we go. Hydrogen and oxygen is O. There we go. So there's 3 atoms of those, well, all together, and they have a kind of a structure where the oxygen is here and the 2 H atoms are like connected here and here. So it's shaped like a V, or like this. So if you change that structure, it becomes a polymorph. So is that even possible with just 3 atoms? I know that there's a lot of polymorphs in structures where there's a lot of atoms in them, but only 3?
Here,
I guess.
think of it like diamonds and graphite.
Okay, I think you've got the better example there.
They're both made of carbon, right? But depending on the structure of the crystallization, the hardness and structure are completely different.
So you're saying normal water and this Ice-9 are like that?
Yup.
Okay, she wasn't finished, but either way, she has got the much better example of this.
Have you heard the story about the crystallization of glycerin?
Glycerin?
For 150 years after the discovery of glycerin, people cooled it, warmed it. They did all sorts of things to it, but whatever they did, it never crystallized.
Okay.
However, one day in 1920, some glycerin on its way to England by ship was discovered to have crystallized during the trip.
That's interesting.
Scientists around the world wanted to research this new crystallized form of glycerin and asked for seeds. Oh, a seed is a sample of the original crystallized substance. With a seed crystal, further crystallization of glycerin would be easy. However, something very strange happened.
What's that?
Not only did the glycerin encouraged by seed crystals begin to crystallize, even the samples nearby did, even though they were tightly sealed.
What?
And it didn't end there. After that day, it doesn't matter where in the world it is. All glycerin crystallizes naturally when cooled to less than 64 degrees.
How the heck did that happen? I mean... Wait. Didn't somebody tell us about... I think Lotus was it with the wireless display? That all humans were kind of like a wireless display connected to a main server? Or main servers, in that matter. So... With this glycerin, is it the same? That like if one starts to act weird, it transfers this information back to the main server, and then the main server distributes it to all the other glycerin. Seems kind of weird, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Before that day, no matter how glycerin was cooled, it refused to crystallize.
Also, is this a real world example? Also with the mummy came to mind, actually, this cursed mummy they spoke about in the last few episodes, right? Well, June was so scared by it. Ooh. So, like, what was that mummy frozen with Ice-9, or did the body water of this mummy? I mean, the human body is made up of about 70 to 80% of water. So, if all of that water suddenly turned into Ice-9, it would make sense that the body was frozen solid, even in a desert area. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
But once the crystallization had begun, it was almost like... How do I put it? It was almost like all the glycerin in the world was communicating. Communicating in some way that we can't sense.
Okay, I already talked about it with the wireless displays.
It's happening everywhere.
Did they discover a sample of glycerin that wouldn't crystallize after that? That would be nice to know. Junpei was honestly impressed, was kind of annoyed. We are impressed. It was in fact a pretty interesting story.
That's pretty interesting. But, what does that have to do with Ice-9?
To his surprise, it was Santa and not June who answered.
What she's saying is that it's a lot like Ice-9. What happened, I mean.
A lot like? Oh, that would be bad.
If all the water suddenly turned into Ice-9, everything would be frozen solid.
If water everywhere started freezing at 96 degrees, man.
It'd be the end of the world.
Yep. Junpei felt that Santa might not be treating the idea of the end of the world with the proper concern.
At any rate, we're not gonna have to worry about the end of the world unless we can get out of here pretty damn quick.
True that. He was right. Junpei shivered.
Guys, I think that's enough of that. I didn't think we'd get quite this far off topic. I know I'm kinda at fault here, but we can't be screwing around anymore.
True that.
Seriously. I might go by the name Santa right now, but I didn't grow up in ice.
Well, you look like you did, but you probably didn't.
I freaking hate the cold.
Is there a thing actually that you don't hate? I mean, you hate faith, love and stuff. You hate the cold.
So let's get cracking, alright? We gotta find a way out of here.
Why don't you just create a YouTube channel called I Hate Everything? Oh wait, that's already been done. So, wait, I hate everything? Are you Santa at heart? I don't know. I don't think so though. But nice connection there. Santa stormed off, clearly doing his best to pretend the cold wasn't affecting him.
Selfish, isn't he?
Still, Santa was right, and it was high time they got back to their search.
Ice-9 is interesting and all, but we can discuss it more once we get out of this freezer.
Yeah, Lotus might also know something about it. Junpei looked at June, nodded, and resumed his search of the room. Okay, so let's just talk about those pipes. There's water dripping from this pipe. It looks like when the pipe burst, the water hit the doorknob and froze it in place. Much logic. So intelligent. This water actually seems almost warm. Okay. No good. I can't hit it hard enough to break it. Maybe it just needs more of a shock, you know? More of a shock? Like an explosion or something. So also, I heard that warm water actually freezes faster than cold water. I don't know why that is. Also, we have something down here. We have a sturdy rope. We have a water bottle. We have anything else that looks useful. Okay. So if the water is warm, we can fill the water bottle up with it. There's warm water flowing from the pipe. Yeah, could you please use that bottle? Hey Junpei, didn't you find some dry ice earlier? Yeah. There's warm water coming out of that pipe. Warm water and dry ice. What do you think would happen if we put that stuff in a sealed container together? And that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay. Item screen. I think we need to... What do we do with this one actually? So combine this with this. Action. No. Sturdy rope. No. This one. No. This should... Come on. Could you please get some warm water into this bottle? Seriously? I couldn't do it before in the item screen? And now you're just telling me I should put the dry ice into the water bottle? Sometimes I don't get this game. But the dry ice is too big. Well, you gotta figure out a way to make it smaller then, don't you, genius? Okay. Let's hit this thing with a rock solid pork. No? Hit it against the wall? Is there a hammer somewhere in here? A cover of frozen food, nothing special about that, yes. Is there anything else in here? Nope. There should be a hammer or something. Isn't anything else that looks useful. But the only screen is here, down here, and I haven't found anything. This thing is covering something. It's frozen solid. I can't flip it over. Yeah. There's warm water flowing from... Yeah, I know. I need to crush the dry ice if I want to get it in the bottle. Yeah, sure. I tried. Thanks for the info. The only thing I can think of is just smack it with this, but that won't work. This won't work too. This won't work either. Let's see if I can combine anything with this. No, no. Anything with the water bottle? No, no, and no. Of course not. Do I need to search it? Dry ice? Can't you make that stuff cause an explosion if you seal it in something that's airtight? Explode? Yeah, didn't you do that in school? You should never underestimate the power of expanding gas. True that, but why would you do that in school? And why can't I crush this thing? Slip of paper that meat, something written on here, but I can't read it like this. If you try and pull it out, it'll probably rip. You need to defrost that. I think we're gonna be doing that in... What? Don't think, yeah. We don't... I think we need to put this thing on the grill. But can't I just use this chunk of meat to crush the dry ice? No, I can't. Wait a second. Do I Now look at this. I can't smack the dry ice with this chunk of meat. I have to get another one. Alright, the dry ice is all in pieces now. So let's get it into that bottle. Into the water bottle. Thanks. Water bottle with dry ice in it. Why? Why did you do this to me, game? So now let's fill it up with water. No, let's click on that door one more time. Not yet, Junpei. We're not gonna get the result we want unless you can hook that bottle to the doorknob somehow. Gotta explode right next to the ice on the doorknob. Yeah, we figured it out. That's the doorknob. There. Good, then let's combine this with this. And let's just tie that rope on here. Good. Thanks. There we go. Warm water dripped from the rupture pipe near the door.
Put water into the bottle with dry ice. And make sure the lid's closed. Now I just have to put this makeshift bomb on the doorknob. Alright, that's set. So, what do we do now?
Hide?
We just need to give it a little, tap. The bottle's already about to pop. If we just throw a rock or something at it, it'll go off all on its own.
A small rock. Huh. A small rock.
Just take some frozen junk. Junpei looked down at the floor. Scattered across it were pieces of dry ice left from the larger chunk he'd crushed earlier. You can't just pick those up, you know?
Alright, this ought to do the trick.
He pulled his sleeve down over his hand to keep from getting burned and grabbed a chunk of dry ice.
Some dry ice, huh? Not a bad idea.
I hope your aim is alright. It was a pretty good size, about as big as a pool ball. How big is a pool ball? This big? This big?
Alright guys, stand back. Actually, we should probably hide somewhere.
Down there. Both Sand and June looked at him with
Where
new
exactly
concern.
do you expect us to hide, genius?
Look down?
There isn't really anywhere big enough.
Look down?
Yeah, there is. Look, right here. We can hide in there.
Optionally, you could also hide in this thing here. Junpei pulled open the door to a small cellar.
Come on, get inside, quick!
Down into the hole. You should have thought about this before. In his hand he could feel the chill of the frozen carbon dioxide, even through his sleeve. He tightened his grip, took aim, and prepared to throw.
Alright, here I go. 3, 4, 5.
You're counting the wrong way.
Oh, oops.
Seriously.
That is a really sad excuse for a joke, man.
It is.
Sorry, dude.
It is.
Alright, for real this time. You guys ready?
Yes, whenever you're ready.
Just
Good.
throw the damn thing.
Yeah, if you just throw it, it will just explode and everyone gets startled.
Alright, here I go. 3, 2, 1.
0. Junpei threw the chunk of dry ice as hard as he could. And missed, of course. With the same motion, he ducked down into the cellar with Santa and June just as this thing exploded. He didn't miss. Junpei leapt up out of the cellar and ran to the door. It should be
Jumpy!
open now.
The ice on the door, is it gone?
Seems like it, if you ask me.
It's gone.
The blast must have shattered it.
Yes.
So just get out of there.
Let's see-
Grabbed the knob and pushed with all his might. The door gave way easily and all of them tumbled out of the freezer at once. Yep.
Hooray! We're out!
Hooray, we're out! June, relieved, collapsed onto the floor.
Move!
That's no way to talk to a lady. Or treat a lady. Santa shoved past Junpei and ran straight to the grill, which he immediately grabbed.
Oh, god damn it! Hot, 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 hot! Fuck!
You don't do that! He proceeded to kick the grill in a futile but amusing fit of rage. Let me guess, he broke a toe
Well,
doing
you did
that.
just
Doing
grab
that.
the grill. What did you think would happen? Hey, where's Lotus?
It took Junpei only a moment to find her. She was sitting on the counter, idly scratching her chest.
Oh, welcome back. I was starting to get tired of waiting for you guys.
Lotus, can I teach you a lesson here, please? But just smacking you in the face with a cushion, that is. Junpei clenched his teeth and walked toward her.
What were you doing?
What do you mean, what was I doing? I was waiting.
You were
We
sleeping.
were gonna die!
Oh, yeah? But you didn't. So everything worked out all right, didn't it?
There you have it.
What the hell?
Just kidding. It might not look like it, but I was really worried.
Oh, and I'm just gonna believe that?
Oh, don't give me that crap.
I'm telling the truth. I mean, if you died, then I'd be in trouble too. If you died, then I'd be stuck here, and I'd die too. See?
Not really. We went through the deactivation device, so you just could walk off after finishing the puzzle. See?
I did all I could. I even looked around to see if there was anything I could use to pry open the door. But I couldn't find anything. So, all I could do was wait.
Well, at least you had enough grace to not use this thing to close the door for good.
What else did you want me to do? Call the cops?
It was true that there wasn't much she could have done, but something about her tone. Yeah, also, why is there a bar lock at the outside of this thing that you cannot open from the inside? Safety standards, guys. Junpei gritted his
Fine.
teeth.
But there's one thing I have to ask you.
What's that?
You didn't close the door, did you?
What? You think I closed the door on you?
Maybe.
Why would I do something like that? It closed on its own.
How?
I told you before, if you die, then I die too.
Well, that door stood open for a good 2 minutes. You were talking in there and stuff. It couldn't just close, you know?
I guess so.
It seemed that an accident was the only explanation for the door's closure.
If she had really wanted to kill us, all she had to do was bar the door from the outside. But she didn't. Well, she didn't do anything.
Yeah, she didn't do anything either.
She's only lazy, or negligent at least, not an attempted murderer.
Well, usually, I don't know, you get punished too by not helping the people. Junpei swallowed his anger and did his best to
Well,
apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I doubted you.
Oh, yes, well, that's all right. As long as you understand.
Looked away and twirled her hair between her fingertips. They almost died! How can you react this way? Do you have, like, I don't know. I don't want to call it disease, but do you have, like, problems showing your emotions? Or something? Are you somewhere placed in the autistic spectrum? If yes, then I will forgive you. If not, you're just a jerk, okay?
Hey, no more screwing around, you two. Break time's over.
Yeah,
Especially
break
for
time's
you,
over.
lady. You've just been sitting on that fat ass of yours while we were freezing to death.
How rude! I was plenty busy.
Yeah. How about you put all that energy into something besides bitching? Let's go.
True words there, Santa. True words there. Either way, we saw what's behind this door. We got back out. We saved our lives. We didn't die. So, let's focus on getting out of this room, actually. Or through this room. Out on the other side. But this will have to wait until the next episode. So, thanks everybody so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Until then, stay true to yourselves.